you rest and relax, and you think about the Lord. We're dealing with the book for the full 24 hours. We're dealing with the word of the Lord, and that's where our mind should be focused. So we're gonna go ahead and get it started. We're gonna get this up in Genesis chapter 2. Genesis chapter 2, because one thing about it, we want to know why we're doing this. Well, it's important to God. And if something is important to God, the creator of all things, and he got our salvation in his hands, we want to make sure we pleasing him. So if it's important to him, it should be important to us as well. So let's go to Genesis chapter 2 and pick it up at verse 1. Genesis chapter 2 and verse 1. And we're going to see that this day was so important to God that he set it apart from every other day. And he actually even put it in the 10 Commandments. Genesis chapter 2 and verse 1. Go ahead.
Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them.
Okay, so you can, if you read in the previous chapter, you would see that the Lord did all his work. Those first 6 days, he did a lot of creating. He created the heavens and the earth and the animals and everything. And when his 7th day came about, what happened?
And on the 7th day, God ended his work which he had made. And he rested on the 7th day.
He rested on the 7th day. Go ahead.
From all his work which he had made. And God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it.
Okay, so he blessed the 7th day and sanctified it. That means he separated from all the other days. Every other day should be different. You shouldn't be doing the same exact thing that you're doing every other day. Something about it should be different. Something about this last day, the 7th day of the week, it should not be like every other day. This is why you don't work on a Sabbath day. You work every other day. He gives you 6 days to worry about what you got going on in the world. But on that 7th day, it belongs to him. He said, God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it. He set it apart. Go ahead.
Because that in it, he had rested from all his work, which God created and made.
And that's what we're supposed to do. You go to work. However many hours you work all week. By the time you get to the Sabbath day, you should be in rest mode, and you should be focusing on the Lord. I know when I first came into it, it was something that I wasn't used to, and it was hard to keep it because you used to just, when you get off of work on a Friday, you used to going out. If you didn't come up in the world, you used to going out and partying or whatever else you may have going on, or you used to waking up Saturday morning and washing your car, washing clothes, getting a haircut, going shopping, whatever it is that you do. That's what you used to, and it's a lot harder when you first come into it. But at this point, when you get into it for a while, you start to appreciate it. I don't know about y'all, but Friday night, when I know I don't have to get up and go to work, and I know I can just come and feast on the word of God, I just lay in my bed. I got my bed made up, and I just lay down and just smile for no reason, because I know I ain't got to get up and really do nothing. I ain't got nothing to worry about. Everything is peaceful, and that's what the Lord is showing us. That's what he's showing us. That's what it's going to be like. It's not going to be a whole bunch of violence and adultery and fornication and idolatry, just all this wickedness. This is what we're supposed to get a glimpse of what it's going to be like. That's why we don't want to bring in any of our problems. If we want to leave all our problems at the end of that. Once that sun go down, we're supposed to try our best. Now, I know it's hard, but we're supposed to be trying our best to forget about everything, any problems that we got going on, and any deadlines that we got to meet at work. We're supposed to let that go, at least for that 24 hours, at least for that 24-hour period. So he's saying God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which he created and made. Let's keep going. Let's go to Mark chapter 2. Mark chapter 2, and we're going to see that keeping the Sabbath day is actually for our benefit. He created it. It's to benefit us, because the Lord, he said, we read that the Lord rested, but the Lord really, come on now, the Lord really don't need no rest. The Lord really don't. The Lord is not a flesh and blood human being. He don't need no rest. Man need rest. And we don't even, and we so immature at times, we don't even know we need rest. But we actually need it though. Mark chapter 2. And let's pick this up at verse 27. Mark chapter 2 and verse 27. Go ahead.
And he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man.
Okay, so the Sabbath was made for man, or for mankind. It was made for us. Why did he? Because we need to rest. And also, whatever the Lord is doing, everything that the Lord does, it's not in vain. He's actually showing us something. So he's showing us, we're going to see at the end of the lesson, he's showing us what everything is going to be like in the future. He said unto them, the Sabbath was not made for man. See, it gives us something to look forward to. It gives us something to look forward to throughout the week, knowing that we got this rest coming. And it gives us something to look forward to as we continue to endure and keep walking this walk. We got something to look forward to, which is everlasting life. But that 1,000 years of peace that we're going to read about. He said, the Sabbath was made for man. Go ahead.
And not man for the Sabbath. Therefore, the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath.
Therefore, the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. See, he created this. He created this. He don't really need it. This is his creation, and he created it for us to benefit from it. Let's keep going. Let's go to Exodus chapter 31. Exodus chapter 31. And what we're really looking at right now is the importance of the Sabbath day. So we're going to go to Exodus chapter 31 because it signifies something. It actually signifies when you keep the Sabbath day as an individual or a congregation, it shows that you are serving a God. Exodus chapter 31, and let's pick it up at verse 12. Exodus chapter 31 and verse 12. Go ahead and read.
And he said, lift up now thine eyes and
Exodus
see.
31 and 12.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Exodus 31 and 12.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep.
So he's saying, truly, my Sabbaths ye should keep. See, a lot of times, the world will tell you, that's why I say Satan to see the whole world. A lot of people don't think that this is important or it's done away with. But we're going to find out today that that's not the case. He said, speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, verily, truly, in other words, truly. Verily just means truly. My Sabbath ye shall keep. Go ahead.
For it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations.
So it's a sign between you. It's letting you know that you know on both sides. On both sides, between you and God, you know that you can recognize the true servant of God by someone that's keeping it. It's somebody that's going to keep the Sabbath day. You're going to keep all his commandments, but you definitely ain't going to do away with the Sabbath day. He said it is a sign between me and you. And how long is it supposed to last?
That you may know that I am the Lord.
He said it is a sign between me and you throughout your generation. So it's something that it's never supposed to stop. It's never done away with. Like you probably heard time and time again, people say that it was nailed to the cross. All these laws were nailed to the cross. But that's not the case. Because if it's going to be throughout your generations, that means it's never supposed to stop. No. Go ahead.
That ye may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you.
Just the fact that you keeping the Sabbath on the seventh day of the week is sanctified. It sets you apart from everybody else. So that's how you know. If you fitting in with everybody else throughout the world, then you obviously, I'm sorry to break it to you, you're not a real Christian. Because the Lord said the Sabbath is going to sanctify you. So you're going to be separate from everybody else. You're not going to have the same, it's not even going to look the same. You got people that's really Christians, and then you got people that are Roman Christians. You following the Roman Christians. You following their practices if you keeping it on a total opposite day of the week. And that's how crafty Satan is. The Lord said, keep the seventh day holy, and the world tells you to keep the first day holy. I was looking up the definition of the Sabbath day, and it was saying that the Sabbath day was a day of rest for the Jews. Keep it on the seventh day of the week, which is a Saturday. And it said the Christians are the ones. It said some Christians keep it on Sunday. Some Christians. But the real Christians keep it on Saturday, the seventh day of the week. Go ahead.
Ye shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it.
So this day is holy. You keep a holy day, it's going to make you holy. Go ahead.
Shall surely be put to death.
If you defile it, he said, and the Lord is not playing about that. He said, anybody that defiles this day shall surely be put to death. And a lot of people, somebody might say, well, I ain't been keeping it and I ain't died yet. Well, matter of fact, let's look at something real quick. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 8. I usually don't do this, but let's look at something real quick. Because a lot of times people think just because the Lord don't get you right away, that he's not going to get you. Mm-hmm. But that's not the case. Ecclesiastes chapter 8. And let me see. Ecclesiastes chapter 8, and pick it up at verse 11. And somebody may say, well, I see what it said back there. He's going to kill you, but I ain't died yet. It ain't even out. See, you got to think of things from a spiritual lens. When you're dealing with God, you got to think of all things from a spiritual perspective. So everything ain't, see, when we in the carnal, we just think everything is supposed to be right away. Everything happens right away. But a lot of times God gets you in the end too. Ecclesiastes 8 and verse 11. Go ahead. Because
sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily.
So if you were defiling the Sabbath, that's an evil work. So it said, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. Just because the Lord didn't get you right away, whatever it is that you're doing evil, that's why he gives you time to repent. That's why the Lord is so merciful. Because you got to get to a point to where you got to have some fear and you're going to have to repent at some point. Go ahead.
Therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil.
It said, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. It didn't happen right away. Therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. So people going to keep on continuously breaking the Sabbath because ain't nothing happen right away. Then somebody might go read that and say, oh, well, this ain't happening. No, it might not happen right away, but it can happen. And it can happen right away. Maybe the Lord just showing you some mercy at this point, giving you a chance to get it together. Some people he didn't show mercy. We're going to read about a brother who was disobedient and the Lord killed him right on the spot. Sometimes the Lord will kill you right on the spot. It's countless examples in the Bible that show that. Go ahead.
Though a sinner do evil 100 times.
Oh, no, that's good. Go back to Exodus 31. Go back to Exodus 31 and we'll pick it back up from where we were. Exodus 31, and I believe we was at the end of verse 14. Go ahead.
For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done.
Okay, so like we know, we've been saying this since we started the lesson. You got 6 days to do anything, to take care of whatever you need to take care of. Go ahead.
But in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest.
It's the Sabbath of rest. We saw in Genesis that the Lord set it apart. He sanctified it. It's supposed to be different. You work every other day. You don't work. You don't go to your job on this day. And it's no way around it. And if you even looking for a job, you got to plan. You got to plan it around what God got going on. You got to figure out a way to find. You have to figure out a way to get the Sabbath day off because you know you're not supposed to be working on it. Go ahead.
Holy to the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath.
So he said, "What the children of Israel should keep the Sabbath." Somebody might see that and say, "It's only the children of Israel that got to do that. Everybody else ain't got to do that." Or that was for the Jews, or Moses said that. But we gonna prove that's wrong as well. He said, wherefore the children of Israel should keep the Sabbath. Go ahead.
To observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant.
For a perpetual covenant. That means it's nonstop. If it's perpetual, it's over and over and over and over again. It never stops. Go ahead.
It is a sign between me and the children of Israel.
Again. This is how you know you a servant of the true and living God. Jesus kept it. We're going to read later on that Jesus kept the Sabbath day. If we was living in the same time when Jesus was around and when Paul was around and when Jeremiah was around and it was time to come together and keep a holy convocation and you went on Sunday, you would never be able to get the fellowship with Jesus or nobody else because they wouldn't be there on the first day of the week. You would never get a chance to even kick it with them because they wouldn't be there. You were there on a totally different day. Go ahead.
Forever. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested. and was refreshed.
And ain't that the way y'all feel? When it's all said and done, you done went through it, you got your rest and you feel refreshed, and you come in here and you learn a whole lot. That's why the Sabbath day is so important. You got to hit that reset button. You might have been through a whole lot throughout the weekend, but you got that Sabbath day to look forward to. You get to see your brothers and sisters. Y'all all on the same thing, and you get to encourage one another because it's rough out here. Keep going.
And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of God.
With the finger of God. So if it's written with the finger of God, it ain't done away with. The Lord don't do nothing just to be doing it and say, oh, I think I made a mistake. They ain't got to do that no more. That's not how it go. It don't go like that. You see, all the way at the end of the book, they was asking Jesus about what was going to happen in the end of the world. He's still talking about the Sabbath day. And we're going to look at that a little later too. But let's keep going. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 56. Because it said the children of Israel should be keeping the Sabbath. It didn't mention about anything about any other nation. But we're going to see right here that it's for all nations. It's for all people. Salvation is for all people. And if you want to get salvation, you got to do what Israel does. He gave it to Israel, but this is why Israel is supposed to be a priest nation, and they're supposed to teach everybody else. Because all nations got to do it. All nations got to partake in it. Nobody is exempt. Isaiah chapter 56, and pick it up at verse 1. Isaiah 56 and verse 1. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, keep ye judgment and do justice, for my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness to be revealed.
So the Lord is telling us how to properly behave. You want to judge righteously and do justice. He said, for my salvation is near to come, go ahead, and my righteousness to be revealed. Go ahead.
Blessed is the man that doeth this.
If you do what?
And the son of man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it.
That keepeth the Sabbath day from polluting it. So he told you time and time again, don't work on it. So if you work on it, you doing what? You polluting it. He said, blessed is the man that doeth this, and the son of the man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it. Go ahead.
And keepeth his hand from doing any evil.
And it ain't just about the Sabbath day. You're supposed to keep your hand from doing any evil. If you want to get into the kingdom, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not. All this is in the 10 Commandments. But when they get to the 4th one, which is the Sabbath day, they do away with that one. No, you want to keep your hand from doing any evil. And if you polluting the Sabbath day, that's evil. Go ahead.
Neither let the son of the stranger that have joined himself to the Lord speak, saying, the Lord hath utterly separated me from his people.
See, nobody gets the opportunity to say, I'm not Israel, so I don't got to do that. The stranger don't get that opportunity. He said, neither let the son of the stranger that have joined himself to the Lord. So the stranger can join himself to the Lord. You got some people preaching that the strangers ain't gonna get in. And it be Israel preaching that strangers can't, you don't get an opportunity to get into the kingdom. So when the Lord told us that we was gonna be a priest nation, who was we supposed to be preaching to? Ourselves? Nah. Go ahead.
Neither let the eunuch say, behold, I am a dry tree. For thus saith the Lord unto the eunuchs that keep my Sabbath, and choose the things that please me, and take hold of my covenant.
So you're supposed to be choosing the things that please him. He said the Sabbath day is a sign between me and you. No matter what race or nationality you are. If you want the Lord to recognize you, you need to keep his Sabbath day. And anything else that he commands you to do. Go ahead.
Even unto them will I give in mine house and within my walls a place and a name better than of sons and of daughters.
Because some of the sons and the daughters, which is Israel, some of them just ain't gonna do it. So some of them ain't the ones that don't do it, they not gonna get in. The Lord told you telling us time and time again, he not a respecter of persons. Just because you Israel don't mean you could just run wild and do anything you want to do. Go ahead.
I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off. And the sons of the stranger that have joined themselves to the Lord to serve him and to love the name of the Lord.
The Lord said, if you love me, keep my commandments. You know, we're dealing with Jesus from the Old Testament all the way to the New Testament. Go ahead.
To be his servants, everyone that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it and taketh hold of my covenant.
That's how you recognize that you are a servant of his. Go ahead.
Even then will I bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon mine altar. For mine house shall be called an house of prayer for all people.
He said, my house is going to be a house of prayer for all people. So I'm not singling nobody out. Ain't no respect of persons. Go ahead.
The Lord God, which gathereth the outcasts of Israel, says.
This that same God, which when it's all said and done, He going to gather the outcasts of Israel, which is the people that are scattered across the world. He going to gather His people. It's that same one. What is He going to do?
Yet will I gather others to Him.
Other people going to get a chance too. When they left Egypt, it was a mixed multitude. Go ahead.
Besides those that are gathered unto Him.
So we was just trying to hit that point. We just trying to hit the point that everybody got to do it. It ain't just for Israel. Let's keep going. Let's go to Acts chapter 18 and hit it a little harder. Acts chapter 18. Acts chapter 18. Because one thing you learn about, one of the things we're supposed to do, we're supposed to come together and keep a holy convocation. Let's see who was keeping a holy convocation with Paul over here in Acts. Acts chapter 18. Pick it up at verse 1. Acts 18 and verse 1. Go ahead.
After these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth and found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy.
So he's talking about he found a Jew, but we all over the place. So these people right here was in Italy. Go ahead.
With his wife Priscilla, because that Claudius had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome and came unto them. And because he was of the same craft, he abode with them and wrought, for by their occupation they were tent makers.
So you see, Paul had a job. Just like I got a job. Like the brothers that stand up here, we don't get paid for this. But we working for something way more valuable than some money. We doing it. We trying to save souls. It said because he was of the same craft, he abode with them and wrought, for by their occupation they were tent makers. I bet you he wasn't working on the Sabbath day. What did they do on the Sabbath day? Verse 4.
And he reasoned in the synagogue.
So he came to church. And he reasoned in the synagogue. Go ahead.
Every Sabbath.
You don't just, I'm going to go this Sabbath. I'm not going to go next Sabbath because I don't like Sister Tracy because she get on my nerves. So I ain't going up there no more. No, it ain't. It's not about that. He said he reasoned in the synagogue every Sabbath and what?
And persuaded the Jews and the Greeks.
And the Jews and the Greeks was in the synagogue keeping the Sabbath every Sabbath day. So that just show you it's not just we in the New Testament.
Yes, sir.
We over here in the New Testament and they still keeping the Sabbath day. And you got Jews and Greeks in the synagogue. Let's keep going. Let's go to Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20. And let's just see when it is. We know when it is, but we got to be reminded. Sometimes these lessons, they can seem like I heard so many Sabbath lessons. We just keep on hearing them. Because sometimes you can get to a point where you think you got it. And sometimes people, you could be in the word for 20 years and walk away in the 21st year. Because Satan is that crafty. Exodus chapter 20 and pick it up in verse 1. Go ahead.
And God spake all these words.
So we understand that God was speaking right off the bat. Go ahead.
Saying, I am the Lord thy God, which I brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
So he talking to the children of Israel. He said, I'm that same one that brought you out of slavery, out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Keep going. Skip down to verse 8.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
So I done did all this for you. Now I need you to listen to me. I need you to do what I'm telling you. I just brought you out of slavery. He said, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. He had to say remember because man is so forgetful. Man will forget something in a minute. This is why as you go throughout your week, that Sunday, that first day, after you done finish coming out of that previous Sabbath day, you be refreshed, you be energized, you be in your Bible. Sometimes you fade away throughout the week. As the weeks go by, you ain't reading it as much as you read it on that first because it's fresh on your mind. But we got to get to a point to where it's always fresh on our mind. He said, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. And we're going to learn how to keep it holy. Go ahead.
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work.
You should not do any work. So and that's one thing. The Lord constantly tell us not to work on the Sabbath day. He gonna make sure you know that all over the Bible. He gonna make sure you know what is required of you. Go ahead.
Thou nor thy son.
You see, this is why some people need to get the class. People, you see the word thou. Some people don't even that mean you. Some people don't even know what thou mean.
Right.
He said thou mean you. Thou, go ahead.
Thy son.
Your kids.
Nor thy daughter. Thy manservant. Nor thy maid servant.
So if you own your own business, you run your own business. Anybody that's working for you shouldn't be working. You got an online website. You got to shut it down on the Sabbath day. Nor thy manservant, nor thy who?
Maid servant. Nor thy cattle.
Nor thy cattle, because they had animals that did a lot of work for them way back then. Anything that helps you to make money, you got to shut it down. It might be some type of machine or some type of object. You might have something automated that's constantly working for you. Some people make money while they sleep. Some people have passive income. You got to shut it down on the Sabbath day. Go ahead.
Nor thy stranger that is within thy gates.
So the stranger should stop working too. They got to keep it as well. Go ahead.
For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the 7th day and hallowed it.
Over and over again, he's telling you how to separate it. And over again, he's telling you that you shouldn't be working on it. Let's keep going. Let's go to Genesis chapter 1. Let's see when the Sabbath day starts. Because you might not know that. We all don't know everything. All of us are at different levels. This is why we got to keep on doing these lessons. You should never get to a point to where you say, oh, I know that already. What about the people that don't know? What about the people that don't know? We supposed to be this. We getting into the last days. The gospel got to be preached for a witness to all nations. So who is we supposed to be preaching to? All nations. Genesis chapter 1, and we're gonna see when a day starts. We're gonna see that it's 2 parts to a day. We're gonna see that the day begins in the evening. Matter of fact, we're just gonna read it. Genesis chapter 1, and pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light. And there was light.
That's how cold the Lord is. Whatever he could just speak something into existence. So you can kind of see the Lord show you what things could be like if you just do right. You may have that power. If you can become God and just speak something into existence, you will have that power. He said, let there be light, and there was light. That quick. Go ahead.
And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning. The evening
was the first part of the day. Go ahead.
And the morning were the first day.
The evening and the morning were the first day. You got your full day. You got an evening part of the day, and you got your morning part of the day. The evening and the morning was the first day. Skip down to verse 8.
And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day.
The evening and the morning. So it's 2. So you got your evening part, that's the first part, and the morning. So that's the beginning part of it. The evening and the morning. Skip down to verse 10.
And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself. And it just show you can see that God is real just by looking at the creation. He said, God said, let the earth bring forth grass. You got grass out there. It's coming back because it's been so cold. The herb yielding seed and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself. So you got an apple. It usually has some apple seeds in it. Whose seed is in itself. Go ahead. Upon the earth. And it was so.
And it was so. Go ahead.
And the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day.
There you go. The evening and the morning was the third day. That's when your day start. That's when your Sabbath starts. So your Sabbath is supposed to start at Friday night. As soon as it get dark, that's when the Sabbath starts. Keep going. 17.
And God set them in the firmament of the heaven, and to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day.
So we comprehend that. We know it starts at evening. The evening and the morning was the fourth day. Let's keep going. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 23. Leviticus chapter 23. So we understand that it's two parts to a day. You need both parts to have a full day. So you can't just keep the Sabbath for 12 hours. You can't keep a half a Sabbath. Leviticus chapter 23 and pick it up at verse 26. Leviticus, we're going to look at the Day of Atonement, which is another, because you got your weekly Sabbath, but you also got Leviticus 23. You got 7 annual Sabbaths. You got your Day of Atonement. You got your first and your last day of unleavened bread. You got your first and your last day of tabernacles. You got Pentecost. Those are other Sabbaths that we got. So we're just going to touch on the Day of Atonement real quick. 26.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a Day of Atonement. It shall be in holy convocation unto you. Okay, and so anytime the Lord says it should be a holy convocation, that means you're supposed to convocate. You're supposed to get together with a group of people. And especially if you got the opportunity to convocate, it's not that far for you to get to it, then you should go ahead and do that. It's not going to keep on flying where you got access to come keep the Sabbath day and you just watching it. That means you witnessing a holy convocation because you just watching it. If you got the opportunity to get here, you should get here because the Lord commanded you. We saw that Paul, they was in the synagogue. They got together. Go ahead. And ye shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And ye shall do no work in that same day.
And on them 7 annual Sabbaths, you ain't supposed to work them days either. Go ahead.
For it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people.
So the Lord ain't playing. He's talking about destroying people. Go ahead.
And ye shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings.
Let's see another example when the day starts.
It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and you shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at evening.
In the 9th day of the month at evening is when it starts. It starts at evening. Go ahead.
From even unto even.
From even unto the even.
Shall you celebrate your Sabbath.
Okay, so it starts in the evening. So once it get dark, so it started last night at Friday night. It started at evening once the sun went down. And then once it gets dark, the Sabbath is going to be over. Let's keep going. Let's go to Mark chapter 14. Mark chapter 14. We're just trying to get the point across that you need both parts. Mark chapter 14. And we're going to pick it up at matter of fact, just pick it up at verse 26. Mark chapter 14. We're going to see over here what Jesus was telling Peter that he was going to end up denying him. And that's exactly what ended up happening. Mark 14 and verse 26. So what we still trying to hit home is that you got two parts of the day and it starts in the evening. Your evening and your morning is all a part of that one day. Your evening, you can't have a full day without your evening and your morning. 26, go ahead.
And when they had sung an hymn, they went out unto the Mount of Olives. And Jesus saith unto them, all ye shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered. But after that, I am risen. I will go before you into Galilee.
So in other words, he was saying, y'all just gonna leave me at some point. Go ahead.
But Peter said unto him, although all shall be offended, yet will not I.
Now pay attention to this. Verse 30.
And Jesus said unto him, verily I say unto thee, that this day.
Okay, we talking about one day. He said, verily I say unto thee, that this day, go ahead.
Even in this night.
Even in this night, we still talking about the same day. Go ahead.
Before the cock crow twice, thou shalt deny me thrice. But he spake the more vehemently, if I should die with thee, I would not die thee in any wise. Likewise also said they all.
So in 30, he said, this day, even in this night, before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. See, he was talking about the same day, but it's still a night part of that same day. Let's keep going. Let's go to Nehemiah chapter 13. We're going to look at one more witness on that, and then we're going to go to a different part of the lesson. Nehemiah chapter 13. Nehemiah chapter 13, and we're going to pick it up at verse 15. Nehemiah chapter 13 and 15. And again, we just making sure we understand that the Sabbath starts at evening when the sun goes down, and that it ends at evening when the sun goes back down. Go ahead.
In those days saw I in Judah some treading wine presses on the Sabbath.
So that was polluting the Sabbath. This is Nehemiah's account. He said, in those days saw in Judah some treading wine presses on the Sabbath. Go ahead.
And bringing in sheaves and lading asses, as also wine, grapes and figs, and all manner of burdens.
They doing all kind of work on the Sabbath day. See, somebody that's serving God, you see that type of stuff, especially a group of people that's supposed to know God. That should vex you. That should really irritate you that somebody's doing that. Go ahead.
Which they brought unto Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. And I testified against them.
What did Nehemiah do? He testified against them because they was doing wrong. Go ahead.
In the day wherein they sold victuals, there dwelt men of Tyre also therein.
So you got some strangers in the area at this point. Tyre, them wasn't Israelites. Go ahead.
Which brought fish and all manner of ware and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Judah and in Jerusalem.
So you got some people out here hustling on the Sabbath day trying to sell something to the children of Judah. Go ahead.
Then I contended with the nobles of Judah and said unto them, what evil thing is this that ye do, and profane the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers thus?
He said, we just got in trouble for this. This is why we in the predicament we in now, because we hard-headed. We a stiff-necked people. We can't get right. Go ahead.
And did not our God bring all this evil upon us and upon this city? Yet ye bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning his Sabbath.
And Israel still profaning the Sabbath. Just because they ain't in here, that don't mean they ain't Israel. Israel all over. A lot of Israel gonna be profaning the Sabbath tomorrow, and they don't even know it. And a lot of times it don't even be their fault. Like some people, like one thing we got to stop doing is like just jumping on the Sunday people, because sometimes they be really trying to search for the Lord in their heart. They really is trying to find something. And the Lord will bring it to them if they keep searching, because the Lord say, seek and ye shall find. So he bring it to you. He'll get it to you if you really, really want it that bad. He'll bring somebody to you. But a lot of times people get it and it's too much for them. And they've been doing what they've been doing and they get hard-headed and they just keep on doing what they're doing. And this is why we ain't going to get out of our predicament that we in, because we in such a bad predicament until the Lord come back. Because we keep on doing it. We just don't stop. Keep going.
And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath.
He said the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark. So when it began to be dark, so the Sabbath starts at the evening. It began to be dark before the Sabbath. Go ahead.
I commanded that the gates should be shut and charged that they should not be open till after the Sabbath.
Don't open the gates back up till it get dark again, because that's when the Sabbath will be over. Go ahead.
And some of my servants set I at the gates, that there should no burden be brought in on the Sabbath day.
Because we're supposed to not be polluting the Sabbath. Go ahead.
So the merchants and sellers of all kind of ware lodged without Jerusalem once or twice. Then I testified against them and said unto them, why lodge ye about the wall?
So you got people he shut the gates, and there's people hanging out on the outside of the gates. He said it was merchants and sellers of all kind of ware lodged without Jerusalem once or twice. Then I testified against them and said unto them, why lodge ye about the wall? Go ahead.
If you do so again, I will lay hands on you.
He said, if you do it again, I'm going to lay hands on you. He ain't talking about praying for him either. He talking about laying hands on them. Fists. Go ahead.
From that time forth came they no more on the Sabbath.
So Nehemiah must have been like Debo or something. Keep going.
And I commanded the Levites that they should cleanse themselves and that they should come and keep the gates to sanctify the Sabbath day. Remember me, oh my God.
Okay, so Nehemiah was doing all this. He was fighting for righteousness, to get his people right. He said, I commanded the Levites that they should cleanse themselves and then they should come and keep the gates to sanctify the Sabbath day. Go ahead.
Remember me, oh my God, concerning this also, and spare me according to the greatness of thy mercy.
See, those kind of works to get you some mercy from the Lord. When you promoting righteousness. Is that it? 22, Nehemiah 15. Yeah, that's it. All right. Now let's look at some of the do's and don'ts on the Sabbath day. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 5. I'm sorry. Deuteronomy chapter 5. It's another spot where the Ten Commandments are located. Deuteronomy chapter 5. And let's pick it up at verse 12. Deuteronomy chapter 5 and verse 12. Go ahead. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as the Lord thy God hath commanded thee. It's a commandment. So whatever the Lord commands you to do, you got to do it. If you want to get what he got for you, because he definitely got a reward for you, whether good or evil. We all gonna get a reward. Go ahead. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy man servant, nor thy maid servant, nor thine ox, nor thine ass, nor any of thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates, that thy manservant and thy maidservant may rest as well as thou. So anybody, you and anybody that's in your circle, we got that. We pretty much got that. You shouldn't be working. You and anybody that's affiliated with you and in your household, they're going to keep the Sabbath. If you got somebody over there and they just visiting on vacation, you're going to come over here, you're going to have to keep the Sabbath. That's what you're going to have, or you're going to have to find a hotel or somewhere else to stay, and then I get what you in the Sabbath, though. If you want to pollute the Sabbath, because that's not how we're going to get down. That's how the prophets operated. They told people what it was. Like Isaiah, he said, cry loud and spare not. I'm not about to spare your feelings. I'm going to tell you what's wrong, and however you feel about it is how you feel about it. It's what the same thing the Lord told Ezekiel. He said, I'm going to send you to these people. They ain't going to listen, and they're going to be looking at you real crazy, but tell them. Tell them no matter what. Let's keep going. Let's go to Numbers chapter 15. Let's see what happened to this brother for working. Numbers chapter 15. We're going to look at this man that was gathering sticks on the Sabbath. Numbers chapter 15. And we're going to pick it up at verse 32. When you get there, go ahead and read it. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day. Okay, and the Lord is real close at this point. They was in the wilderness. He said, while the children of Israel was in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks on the Sabbath day. He was polluting the Sabbath day. Go ahead. And they that found him gathering sticks brought him into Moses and Aaron and into all the congregation. And they put him in ward, because it was not declared what should be done to him. See, the people ain't know what to do with him, but what the Lord say? And the Lord said unto Moses, the man shall be surely put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. So this brother got stoned for picking up sticks. He couldn't wait. He could have did that 6 other days, or he could have did that when the Sabbath was over. So he picking up sticks, and it don't say what he was trying to do. He could have been trying to start a fire. I don't know what he was trying to do, but it could have waited. A lot of stuff can wait. See, one thing about it, you got to discipline yourself. You have to discipline yourself if you're going to serve God. You got to be disciplined. I was talking to them earlier when we was riding up here. Everything that the Lord got set for you to do, the way that you carry yourself and the way that you operate and the way that you deal with other people and love your neighbor, if you can really follow all this to the best of your ability to a T, it's going to make it. What's going to happen is it's going to make you a solid individual. It's going to make you a good individual. And everybody, those are going to be the type of people that get into the kingdom. So if you can't do one look, you got, I don't even know what the percentage of that, but it's 7 days in a week and he only asking for one. He only asking for one. That's not a lot. Go ahead.
And all the congregation brought him without the camp and stoned him with stones. And he died, as the Lord commanded Moses.
So he got died because he's picking up sticks. But let's keep going. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 58. Isaiah chapter 58. Because another thing is, you ain't supposed to be doing your pleasures. Anything that you would normally do, you got to sanctify the Sabbath day. It has to be different. It can't be like your everyday life. Isaiah chapter 58, pick it up at verse 13. Isaiah 58 and 13. When you get there, go ahead and read.
If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day.
Okay, so you ain't supposed to do none of your pleasures on the holy day. On the Sabbath day, you're not supposed to be doing your pleasures. You can't watch the basketball game or the football game. You can't go to the mall. Anything that you like to do. Husbands and wives, y'all can't lay together. Somebody might say that's not a pleasure. Come on now. Go ahead.
And call the Sabbath a delight.
You're supposed to call the Sabbath a delight. That means you're supposed to. I mean, I know we go through things throughout the week, but you want to come in here and be. You want to be cheerful a little bit. It's supposed to be like that's what the kingdom's supposed to be like. It ain't gonna be no crying and weeping and stuff like that, or bringing in some beef that you had throughout the week. You're supposed to call the Sabbath day a delight, because anything other than that, you polluting the Sabbath day. Go ahead.
The holy of the Lord, honorable, and shall honor him.
You should honor him. It's all about. You're supposed to be giving the Lord, and the Lord gave you this day to rest and to honor him. Go ahead.
Not doing thine own
Not
ways.
doing what you would normally be doing. It's got to be different. Go ahead.
Nor finding thine own pleasures. Nor speaking thine own words.
That potty mouth that you got to try to clean it up. On his day, don't be speaking your own words. And we ain't finna talk about the basketball game too long. I know sometimes, brothers, it happens. You get to talking about stuff you shouldn't be talking about, but we really shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be speaking your own words. I ain't saying sit around and talk about, you got to talk about scriptures all day, but you don't want to be getting carried away with what you're doing, is what I'm saying. 14.
Then shalt thou delight thyself in the Lord, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob, thy father, for the mouth of the Lord hath spoken.
The mouth of the Lord has spoken, and we know the Lord cannot lie. But let's keep going. Let's go to Exodus chapter 35. Let's look at another rule on the Sabbath day. Exodus 35. And pick it up at verse 1. Exodus 35 and verse 1. Go ahead.
And Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together and said unto them, these are the words which the Lord hath commanded, that ye should do them. 6 days shall work be done, but on the seventh day there shall be to you an holy day, a Sabbath of rest to the Lord. Whosoever doeth work therein shall be put to death.
You don't know nothing else. You know you better not go to work. Because we were saying that all day. Verse 3.
Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day.
Okay, so you shouldn't be cooking. This is why the Lord give you a day of preparation, and we're going to look at that. So you shouldn't be cooking on the Sabbath day. You can get everything prepared. And then Israel, we real creative. Let it get real hot out here. You got some chicken or something. You put it right in the dashboard. You got a hot plate. Whatever you got to do to keep from making the Lord mad, you gotta do it. And then you just gotta eat cold cuts. And I'll eat some cold chicken. You don't want it, I'll eat it.
Right.
Put some hot sauce on there, I'm good. They say you should kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day. Let's see all about this preparation. Let's go to Exodus chapter 16. Exodus chapter 16. And we're going to pick it up at verse 2. Exodus chapter 16. See, the Lord He know you're going to get to the Sabbath day. And if you don't know and you ain't disciplined, you ain't going to be ready. So he even told you how to get ready. Prep yourself. This is why I know a lot of y'all probably on Friday, y'all be moving. getting to wherever y'all need to go, getting everything ready for the next day, getting your outfit ready, whatever you need. Whatever you need, you got to prep for it. And he give you time to prep for it. You can prep for it tomorrow if you want to. Just be ready, especially if you like me and you got a lot of kids. You got to get all them outfits. You gotta hurry up. You got to do whatever you need to do so you don't make the Lord upset at you. You do not want the Lord upset at you. Go ahead. Exodus chapter 16 and pick it up at verse 2. Go ahead.
And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness.
And that's our problem. That was Israel's problem. Always murmuring, always complaining about something. The Lord just brought us out of Egypt. And brought us out of slavery, and we complaining. Let's see. Keep going though. We're gonna see. And
the children of Israel said unto them, would to God we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt.
He said that, so in other words, they just came out of slavery and they complaining. He said, what to God we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt. Because they uncomfortable now. Sometimes you gotta get, and that's something we are. That's something I gotta learn too. Sometimes you gotta be uncomfortable to get to the promised land, to get to what you really trying to get, no matter what you're striving for in life. If you want a new career, you might have to sacrifice some sleep and stuff like that. You might have to be a little uncomfortable to get what you want, to get your goal. So this whole walk is going to be uncomfortable. That's a lot of things that's the main thing that they don't teach you in mainstream Christianity. Everything not going to be peaches and roses and strawberries.
Amen.
It's going to be uncomfortable. Because you different than everybody else. You're going to get persecuted. You're going to get looked at as weird. You can only apply for certain jobs because you got to keep the Sabbath day. Right. But you can't love. That's why the Lord tell you can't serve mammon and the Lord. You're going to hate one and love the other. So that's a perfect example right there. Somebody say, yeah, I'm going to pay you $55 an hour to work this job, but you got to work it on the Sabbath day. You going to go for it? You going to sell your soul? See, that $55 an hour is vanity. It's going to pass away. But the Lord's kingdom lasts forever. Keep going.
When we sat by the flesh pots and when we did eat bread.
We sat by the flesh pot. We had meat. See, I can see, because the Lord going to gather his people and bring them into the wilderness and purge the rebels. That's a whole nother lesson. But you're going to have some people that's so used to being in slavery, they're going to be out there complaining. That's why he said, it's over there in Ezekiel. He said you're going to have to purge the rebels. They're going to be complaining because it ain't going to be no Popeyes in the wilderness. It ain't going to be no Takis for your kids or none of that. It's not going to be like that. So, and you're going to have some people that's going to be complaining. Go ahead.
And when we did eat bread to the full, for ye have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger.
See, they complaining more. They say you brought us out here to kill us, man. We about to die out here. Because you know it's hot. Go ahead. Ain't no AC.
Then said the Lord unto Moses, behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you. And the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day.
And the Lord always take care of you. See, that's a lot. One thing we got to learn, we do that a lot. We start complaining. Then don't the Lord come through every time in one way or another? Every time the Lord come through. He said, then said the Lord unto Moses, behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you. If that ain't a miracle, I don't know what is. Bread from heaven. I think I seen that on a cartoon or something like that. I think my kids was watching a movie like that. Cloudy with a chance of meatballs or something like that. Y'all seen that before? Yeah. But that's what the Lord really did that. Go ahead.
And the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them, whether they will walk in my law.
He said, I'm going to rain bread from heaven, and the people, they supposed to go out and gather. See, you got to prep. You got to gather what you need to gather before the Sabbath day come around. You got to take care of everything that you need to take care of before it actually get here. He said they're supposed to gather a certain rate every day that I may prove them. See, this whole walk is a proving ground. I got to see, I'm going to put you in situations. I'm going to see if you're going to serve me or not, because I can't just let you in. That happened with somebody else, and they got kicked out, and they ain't never getting back in, and we know what their end is. Go ahead.
Whether they will walk in my law or no.
Because like we was talking about on the way down here, you got a choice. Sometimes people need to understand the difference between making a mistake and making a choice. It's the difference between making a mistake and just making a choice. If you make a mistake, it was unintentional. You didn't mean to do it. Like if I was just walking and I just bumped against him that's a mistake. But if I ain't gonna do it. I love my brother. But if I just punched him, that was a choice. It was a bad choice, but it was a choice. So he said, I'm gonna prove you. He said, whether they will walk in my law or no. So you got a choice. The Lord is giving you the option. You can either serve me or you can serve Satan. You can either be like the world or you can be looked at as weird and get persecuted for keeping the Sabbath day. For telling, see, a lot of times, and the brothers was telling me on the way down here, and it's a good idea. We got to be able to get on the offense sometimes. People ask us what we do. And we sometimes, you know, I keep the Sabbath. Like we real low with it. I keep the Sabbath day. No, you get on the offense sometimes. Like, why do you do what you do? And then once you can't tell me why you do what you do, I'll show you why I do what I do out of the Bible.
Right.
See, everybody claim Jesus, but everybody don't know that the Bible speaks of another Jesus. Mm-hmm. See, it's a whole nother Jesus that lets you break the Sabbath day. They say, what would Jesus do? Jesus would keep the Sabbath day. We're going to see that Jesus kept the Sabbath day. Talked about the Sabbath day a couple of times. And he had a holy convocation. Let's keep going. Let's go to, let's skip down. What verse we at?
5, I think that is 5.
Let's go. All right, skip down to 5. Okay, go ahead. And
it shall come to pass that on the 6th day, they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily.
On the 6th day, you're supposed to get twice as much. Skip down to 11.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel.
So when you complaining, the Lord hear that. Matter of fact, let's look at something real quick, and we're going to come right back. It's a one-hitter. Go to Numbers chapter 11. Let's learn something on our way to learning something, like Bowie say. Let's see, because we got to stop that. Like I say all the time, we all got something that we need to work on. Whatever it is, you know it. You ain't got to tell me. The Lord know. It's between us and the Lord. Mm-hmm. But let's see what that murmuring gets you. Numbers 11, pick it up at verse 1.
And when the people complain, it displeased the Lord.
Okay, so murmuring, complaining, same thing. When the people complain, it displeased the Lord. And what happened?
And the Lord heard it.
The Lord heard it because the Lord hear and see everything. Go ahead.
And his anger was kindled. And the fire of the Lord burnt among them and consumed them that were in the uttermost parts of the camp.
So they got burnt up for complaining. They ain't killed nobody. They was complaining and got burnt up for complaining. Let's go back. Exodus chapter 16 and pick it up at verse 12. So just let that, like, rest with that thought for the rest of the week. Hopefully that help you get through the next week to the next Sabbath. So you going through stuff. See, it can always be worse. That's one thing we got to understand. Things could be a lot worse. Yeah. You know, I was complaining. I ain't even going to front you. I was complaining about, I wasn't even complaining out loud. I was complaining about some stuff in my head this week. When it wasn't even no big deal. Next thing you know, my wife come to me, the check engine light on. I'm like, dang, I should have just chilled out. Now the check engine light on. Now you got a problem. Now I got something for you to worry about. But I'm just gonna chill and try to figure it out because your strength comes from the Lord anyway. 12.
I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel. Speak unto them, saying, at even you shall eat flesh, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread.
In the evening you're gonna eat flesh, and in the morning so the Lord is gonna give you what you need, and you're gonna be full. You're gonna eat flesh. If you ever had chicken and waffles, don't that fill you up? You're gonna have flesh. You're gonna have flesh in the evening, and in the morning you're gonna be filled with bread. Go ahead.
And you shall know that I am the Lord your God. And it came to pass that at even the quails came up and covered the camp. And in the morning, the dew lay round about the host. So
the Lord had some quails come down. All these miracles. Go ahead.
And when the dew that lay was going up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness, there lay a small round thing, as small as the hoarfrost on the ground. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, it is manna. For they wist not what it was. And Moses said unto them, this is the bread which the Lord hath given you to eat. This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating.
Okay, so now the Lord got another commandment. I'm going to see if you're going to listen. This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating. Go ahead.
An omer for every man, according to the number of your persons.
Just get as much as you need. You don't want to be a glutton. Go ahead.
Take ye every man for them which are in this tent. And the children of Israel did so, and gathered some more and some less.
Some people got different size families than others. Some people may need more, some people need less. Go ahead.
And when they did meet it with an omer,
they measured it. Go ahead.
He that gathered much had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack.
So the Lord is going to always give you what you need. You're going to always have what you need. See, we just be wanting a whole lot more. See, we in this world where man ain't never satisfied, and it teach us never to be satisfied. That's why he come out with a iPhone 100 and everything else. It's always something new. It's always something for you to want. Go ahead.
They gathered every man according to his eating. And Moses said, let no man leave of it till the morning. Notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto Moses.
They didn't listen. That's Israel for you. They don't listen. They still ain't listening. They don't want to hear that. They still walk around. And then the Lord teach you, if you would just follow the Lord's commandments, you would be straight. You ain't got to be worried about celebrating Christmas and all that. You walk around spending all your money. You looking silly with an ugly sweater on and a red hat. You 35 years old with a colorful sweater on and a red hat with a ball on it going like that. You too old for that. Keep going.
But some of them left of it until the morning, and it bred worms and stank.
And it ended up stank. Now you know that's Israel. Stank. Come on now. That was us. This our book. He said stank. Come on now. Stank. Go ahead.
And Moses was wroth with them.
And Moses was upset with them. That's how you're supposed to be as a servant of God. You trying to advocate for righteousness. Anything wicked that somebody do is supposed to make you angry. Like a whole lot, like the agenda that the world got going on with the identify as whatever I want to identify as. I'm a man, but I identify as a woman. Or I'm a woman, I identify as a man. I heard a teacher saying he's a teacher in Israel, but he's a school teacher too, up there up north in Maryville. And he was saying that the kid at his school identified as a penguin, and they had to go along with it. I'm talking like for real. He said he walk around with a penguin suit on and everything. Wow. See, stuff don't make no sense. Go ahead.
And they gathered it every morning, every man according to his eating. And when the sun waxed hot, it melted. And it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. And he said unto them, this is that which the Lord hath said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord.
He got you doing something for everything he got you doing it for a reason. This is why he told them do this for 6 days. And then on the 6th day, you're going to get twice as much. He said unto them, this is that which the Lord has said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath. Go ahead.
Unto the Lord. Bake that which you will bake today.
So cook your food before it get dark. Then eat your food. If you mess up, you just going to have to fast. And you're just going to be fasting. If you make some cereal or something. But you don't want to make the Lord mad. Make a sandwich. Go ahead.
And sieve that you will seethe.
So when you put something in the microwave, you seethe it. A lot of times people like to say, oh, I'm using the microwave, I'm not cooking. You could take a raw potato, put it in the microwave, and you cook that potato. I done did it. Go ahead. And
that which remaineth overlay up for you to be kept until the morning.
And you can keep it up. Ain't nothing going to happen to it. You can keep it up. Because the Lord blessed. The Lord ain't going to let nothing happen to it. Go ahead.
And they laid it up till the morning as Moses bade, and did not stink.
And it did not stink. I done did this numerous times with food. Go ahead.
Neither was there any worm therein. And Moses said, eat that today, for today is a Sabbath unto the Lord. Today you shall not find it in the field. You was only going to find it in the field those previous days, because those was the days that you were supposed to gather, those first 6 days. You're not going to find it. If they went out there looking for it on the 7th day, you're not going to find it. It's not going to be there, because you're supposed to be focused on me. You're supposed to take care of everything you was supposed to take care of the first 6 days of the week. Go ahead. 6 days ye shall gather it. But on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none.
Ain't going to be none. Go ahead.
And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the 7th day for to gather.
But then you always got some hard-headed people that just don't want to do what the Lord say. He said it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the 7th day to gather. Go ahead.
And they found none. And the Lord said unto Moses, how long refuse you to keep my commandments and my laws?
And we still doing it. Don't nobody want to keep the Sabbath day. You want to eat what you want to eat. Stuff ain't really that hard. It's just really how bad do you want it. They say that to athletes, how bad you want it. You're gonna do whatever it takes to get people will do whatever it takes for a corruptible crown that's gonna pass away. Them 6 rings Michael Jordan got, he can't take them with him. But if you serve the Lord, you can. That's something that's everlasting. That's not gonna vanish. Go ahead.
See, for that the Lord have given you the Sabbath.
The Lord gave you the Sabbath. That's so we touched on that earlier. The Sabbath was made for man. The Lord made it for us, for our own good. Go ahead.
Therefore he giveth you on the 6th day the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day. So the people rested on the 7th day.
And that's what you're supposed to do. Let's keep going. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 23. So we learning some things on how you're supposed to operate when it comes to Sabbath day. How you're supposed to keep it holy. Let's look at something else that you're supposed to do on the Sabbath day. Leviticus chapter 23. Leviticus chapter 23. I still some pages turned. I'm gonna wait. Go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations.
So, right, in this chapter, he running down the feast, but he also does touch on the Sabbath day in Leviticus chapter 23. He said, he speak unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocations. So you're supposed to get together with a group of people. That's what that means. Go ahead.
Even these are my feast. 6 days shall work be done.
Now he gonna touch on the Sabbath day. 6 days shall work be done. Go ahead.
But the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest.
The 7th day is the Sabbath of rest. Go ahead.
And holy convocation.
You're supposed to come. So in other words, you're supposed to come to church. Like we at church right now. That's what you're supposed to do. We doing what we supposed to do. So what we doing right now is pleasing to the Lord. Go ahead.
Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings.
Wherever you at. Wherever you at. Even say if you take a vacation, you in Atlanta. It's a class in Atlanta. It's a class in LA. It's a class in Philly. It's a class in Arkansas. It's a class in Dallas. There's classes all over the place. Wherever you at, you're supposed to keep the Sabbath. But let's keep going. Let's go to Luke chapter 4. Luke chapter 4. Because we see that we're supposed to keep our holy convocation. Let's see what Jesus did. Everybody loved Jesus. Everybody want to claim Jesus. So if you're a Christian, you're supposed to be what? Christ-like. So you're supposed to be doing what he would have did. His customs. He wouldn't have been there. Like I said earlier, if you go to church, if Jesus was still around right now, you go to church on Sunday, you ain't gonna see him. He'd be in here with us though today. He'd be kicking it with us. He'd probably be doing a lesson. Because that's another thing they did. They read. They had people, you actually went to church and you learned something. You're supposed to come here and learn and figure out, because we are, this world is full of darkness. Luke chapter 4, and pick it up at 14. Luke chapter 4 and 14. Let's see what Jesus did. Go ahead.
And Jesus returned in the power of the Spirit unto Galilee, and there went out a fame of him through all the region round about.
And it should have been a fame. That's what happened when you looking out for everybody. Everybody start loving you. You healing people, you doing all, and then once everybody start loving you, then you got people like the Pharisees that start hating you, and then your own people get you killed. That's how it works. Go ahead.
And he taught in their synagogues, being glorified of all.
He taught in the synagogue. He was in church. We read that Paul was in the synagogue earlier. We read that he was in there with the Jews and the Greeks. He said he taught in their synagogues, being glorified of all, because he was doing all the miracles. Go ahead.
And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up.
So he came back to where he was raised. Go ahead.
And as his custom was,
what was his custom?
He went into the synagogue.
He went to church
on the Sabbath day.
On the Sabbath day, on the 7th day. It never changed. Jesus was doing the same thing. He went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and did what?
And stood up for the read.
What we doing? Read. You reading, and I'm just elaborating.
Sure.
And we all in here reading. That's what Jesus did. That's what we are. That's what everybody that call themselves a Christian should be doing, because that's what he did. He stood up for the read. We ain't coming here to just for no reason. We're supposed to learn something. Go ahead.
And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah.
So and that's just me and Isaiah. He said, and there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah. Where is that at? In the Old Testament. A lot of people say that you don't read the Old Testament. Why was Jesus reading Isaiah? And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah. And what?
And when he had opened the book, he found a place where it was written.
Mm-hmm.
The Spirit of the Lord is upon me,
Mm-hmm.
because he have anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor.
Mm-hmm. This is what Jesus was supposed to do. Preach the gospel to the poor. Go ahead.
He have sent me to heal the brokenhearted.
This is why it was a fame about him. Because he's looking out for everybody. Everybody gonna start loving you. That's just what come with it. That's why so many brothers and sisters love Brother Elijah. Because of the work that he's doing. And he's just a flesh and blood man, but he in the same spirit of the Lord. Like anybody that come up here and stand up here, they getting everything that they got from the book. And it's the same spirit, it's the same words. Go ahead.
To preach deliverance to the captives and recovering of sight to the blind.
If you ain't never seen before, and all of a sudden somebody come around and now you can see, you gonna love that person, ain't you? You're gonna be happy. You're gonna be happy about that. Go ahead.
To set at liberty them that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord.
And you can read, and all that you can read that in Isaiah chapter 61. We ain't gonna read it, but you can read that, and that's Isaiah chapter 61. He went in there and read the Old Testament. And then what?
And he closed the book, and he gave it again to the minister and sat down. And the eyes of all them that were in the synagogue,
everybody that was in the church was what?
Were fasting on him.
They was looking at him. Go ahead.
And he began to say unto them, this day is this scripture fulfilled in your ears.
Because he fulfilled it. He said, and he began to say unto them, this day is this scripture fulfilled in your ears. He coming to do all that, heal all these people. And he dropped the mic on them, 22.
And all bear him witness and wondered at the gracious words which proceeded out of his mouth. And they said, is not this Joseph's son?
And they is everything in it's gracious words. Everything, especially when you first heard everybody had to be dazzled when you first heard it, because it's something you never heard before. He said, all of them wondered at the gracious words, because this word is powerful, sharper than any two-edged sword. But let's keep going. Go to Acts chapter 13. Let's look at Paul again. So we still talking about the fact that we got to get together and have a holy convocation on the Sabbath. Acts chapter 13. And let's see what Paul did. Acts 13 and 13. Acts chapter 13 and verse 13. Whenever you get there, brother, go ahead and read.
Now when Paul and his company loosed from Paphos, they came to Perga in Pamphylia, and John departing from them returned to Jerusalem. So
he was preaching all over the place. This is why you got a different teacher every week, or in all the places. You a lot of times you got a different teacher, because we're supposed to get around and get the gospel to everybody. Go ahead.
But when they departed from Perga, they came to Antioch in Pisidia and went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day.
So Paul went to church on the Sabbath day. And did what?
And sat down. And after the reading of the law and the prophets.
They was reading the what? The law and the prophets. That's what, because it wasn't nothing else. It wasn't no Acts. He was reading the law and the prophets. That's what the foundation of everything is. It's all saying the same thing. And after the reading of the law and the prophets, go ahead.
The rulers of the synagogue sent unto them, saying, ye men and brethren, if you have any word of exhortation or exhortation for the people, say on.
That's kind of how, like, when you see people, how they used to do when you used to go to church, and they be like, I got a testimony. Everybody come say your testimony. Everybody stand up. That's where they got that from. Go ahead.
Then Paul stood up and beckoning with his hand said, men of Israel, and ye that fear God, give audience.
All right, now let's keep going. Let's skip down to verse 42. Skip down to verse 42.
And when the Jews were going out of the synagogue, the Gentiles besought that these words might be preached to them the next Sabbath.
Because the Gentiles was there too, wasn't they? And he said they wanted the words to be preached to them the next Sabbath. So you keep a holy convocation every Sabbath, every seventh day. And the Gentiles was there too. Go ahead.
Now, when the congregation was broken up, many of the Jews and religious proselytes followed Paul and Barnabas, who, speaking to them, persuaded them to continue in the grace of God.
And that's what we should be doing with each other, encouraging one another, because life get hard. You don't know what. Sometimes people got to wear these smiles, but you don't know what people really be going through throughout the week. You know, sometimes maybe it may be good to ask somebody really how they, and don't just say it just to be saying it, but like, really, how was your week? Sometimes we just say stuff just to be saying it. We got to get out of that because it's appropriate or it seems like it's right. But you got to really, the book teach us to be genuine. He said, let us love without dissimulation. Ain't no fake love. It's got to be real. And people can feel that too. Keep going.
And the next Sabbath day came almost the whole city together to hear the word of God.
And that's what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to come and hear the word of God. You're supposed to get into this book and learn. 45.
But when the Jews saw the multitudes, they were filled with envy.
See, that's how they do. Anybody that's really served. If you got any leader like Jesus and you got Paul, the people that's of Satan, they gonna hate that. Anytime you doing good, like even with all the way back to Cain and Abel. Abel was doing good. Cain hated that. He got killed for it. They've been doing it. The stuff don't get old. Satan do the same. He used the same old tricks over and over and over again because it worked. And people, keep falling for it. Go ahead.
And spake against those things which were spoken by Paul, contradicting and blaspheming.
Mm-hmm. Let's keep going. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 10. Hebrews chapter 10. And then we're going to lay that part to rest. Hebrews chapter 10. And like I say, somebody might say, and that's how Satan works. Somebody might say, I'm not going to class no more because I don't like such and such. Look, you ain't here. We here to learn about God. We ain't here to, if you happen to make friends, cool, but you really here to learn how to get your salvation. You can, if you don't like somebody, first of all, you're supposed to try to fix that. But sometimes I understand, sometimes it can't be fixed. The book tell you, if possible, live peaceably with all men. It say if possible. So that just tells me that sometimes it may not be possible. But if you got that kind of situation to where you don't like such and such, and you don't like to be around, come, get the lesson, say amen, go to the car, and go home. But you kept your holy convocation. Everybody, you don't have to, some people stay all day. Everybody don't have to stay in here all day. But you definitely got to keep a holy convocation. And we need to learn how to get along with each other, because these are going to be the same people who you want to call up, man. It's time to go. It's time to flee to the wilderness. Mm-hmm. These are going to be the same people you in the wilderness with. So we got to learn how to get along with each other, if that's the case. Right. Hebrews chapter 10, and pick it up at verse 23. Go ahead.
Let us hold fast the profession of our faith without wavering.
Without wavering.
For
James said, if you wavering, you can't even pray and be wavering. Because the Lord, he said, don't think that you're gonna receive anything of God if you waver. So you can't be back and forth. You can't be lukewarm. Jesus talked about being lukewarm in Revelation chapter 3. You can't be lukewarm. You got to be in it. You either in or you out. Go ahead.
For he is faithful that promised. Mm-hmm. And let us consider one another.
Consider one another. What's going? How was your week? What you dealing with this week? Let us consider one another. Go ahead.
To provoke unto love and to good works.
I don't want to provoke you to wrath. I want to provoke you to love and good works. You may be falling off. We need to get together. This is why the Sabbath is so important. You may be falling off. I need to provoke you I need to encourage you. Because you may be up one day and I may be down one day. You're going to need to encourage me. It's a balance. The whole thing is a balance in that. Go ahead.
Not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together.
Okay, so it say not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together. So this is really important for us to come together every seventh day. And if you can happen to come together even more than that, that's even better. That's a bonus. Go ahead.
As the manner of some is.
Mm-hmm. So it said not forsaking the assembling of ourselves as the manner of some is, because some people may do that. They may just not come. Go ahead.
But exhorting one another.
Or encouraging one another.
And so much the more as ye see the day approaching.
Mm-hmm. Especially at this point in time, this world is crazy. Stuff is getting crazy. Why is gas $4? Yeah. Like that don't make no sense. I don't even want to go nowhere. I just want to go to work and come home. Go ahead.
Or if we see
that's good. That's good. Okay, go to Matthew 24. Go to Matthew 24. Because like you hear all the time, people say, that the Sabbath day is done away with and you ain't got to keep it no more. So let's see what Jesus said over here in Matthew chapter 24. And this chapter pretty much breaking everything down about the sequence of events that's going to happen when the end of the world is coming. And the disciples asked him a good question in this chapter too. Matthew chapter 24 and pick it up at verse 3. Go ahead.
And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? Mm-hmm. And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?
That's what you want. And see, them the type of things we learn. That's why it's such a blessing for us to have this knowledge. And it's such a blessing for us to be able to come and keep the Sabbath. This is why it was made for us, so we could come. It was made for us to rest, and then we come and get some information that can save our soul. He said, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? I think we might want to know that. See, we know what's going on. We know what the end is going to be. Go ahead.
And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you.
First of all, don't let nobody deceive you. Don't let nobody tell you that it's okay you could just worship God on any. You can worship God every day, but it's only one day he commanded you that you must worship him on. And that's the seventh day of the week, and that's the Sabbath day. People, I heard TD Jakes try to get up there and be slick. He said, yeah, you know how and some of them people, they be talking real good and they have you believing some stuff. And he got up there and he said, yeah, the people talking about the Sabbath. Yeah, I worship God on Saturday. I keep the Sabbath and Sunday and Monday. And then the crowd just start going crazy, like somebody just hit a game-winning shot or something. They just start going crazy. But no, you must keep the seventh day of the week. See, people like to be slick with you. So he said, take heed that no man deceive you. Skip down to 11.
And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many.
Mm-hmm. Everybody, now everywhere you look, especially you got YouTube now, everybody on there, everybody deep. Everybody want to be a preacher. Everybody putting out some kind of knowledge. You got some people talking about, you got Egyptology, you got the Sunday Christian. Then you got some Israel saying some silly stuff. You got people talking about Buddha and stuff like everybody deep. Everybody deceiving people. Everybody got a doctrine that don't make no sense. 14.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations.
Just Israel. All nations. To all nations. We got to make sure we get that across. And this gospel of the kingdom should be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, because the Lord is fair. He's going to give everybody a chance to get it right. He's going to give everybody a chance. This is why everything is turning up now. And more. I remember years ago, I didn't even know the word Sabbath day exists. I ain't know nothing about it. I wasn't thinking about no church or none of that. But now people starting to wake up. The Lord said that his people was going to start to wake up. You got a lot of entertainers talking about they Jews and stuff like that. That stuff getting out there. And then if you say something about the fake Jews, you ain't gonna have no show no more. You see Nick Cannon, they gonna shut you up. Whoopi Goldberg, you say something about the real. Say something. Well, they not the real Jews, but they think they are. But say something about them. You're gonna have a problem on your hands, especially if you getting money and they controlling all the money and stuff. That's how you know that they ain't the real Jews, because the real Jews is gonna be on the bottom and in captivity. But keep going.
And then shall the end come. Mm-hmm. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet.
See, if you ain't keeping the truth, you're not gonna know nothing about no abomination of desolation. You ain't gonna know nothing about that. Go ahead.
Stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand.
And it's supposed to be, he said, when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet. They told you don't read the Old Testament, so you ain't gonna go read Daniel the prophet. You ain't gonna know nothing about the abomination of desolation. If you don't know nothing about the abomination of desolation, you're gonna end up getting caught in great tribulation, and you ain't gonna know nothing about nothing. You're gonna end up taking that mark. See, knowledge will get you far. 16.
Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes.
Get out. You got to get moving. We're supposed to go to the wilderness. That's another thing that we learn. That's another one of the lessons that we learn. We're not teaching it today, but y'all got a general. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It look like y'all know what I'm talking about, because y'all come in here and y'all keep the Sabbath day and y'all learn and you do what you're supposed to do. We come and we actually get the word. Go ahead.
And woe unto them that are with child.
He said, woe unto them with child. Go ahead.
And to them that give suck in those days.
Because it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. You're going to have people, you think it ain't going to be easy to get to the woods. People going to be chasing you. You got a little itty bitty baby. It's going to be hard to, the baby, you might be trying to hide or something. The baby don't know. The baby just break out crying. So it's going to be rough. It said, woe unto them that are with child and them that give suck in those days. But what?
But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter.
Pray ye that your flight be not in the winter. Ain't it hard to drive when it's snowing? Ain't it hard to move? Pray that your flight be not in the winter. And what else?
Neither on the Sabbath.
Neither on the Sabbath. We talking about, what did they ask him? They wanted to know the signs of his coming and of the end of the world. And Jesus still talking about the Sabbath. They ain't say, oh, gee. See, ain't nobody jump in and say, why are we talking about the Sabbath day? No, the Sabbath day gonna still be good even then. So that just proves it. Go ahead.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be.
And it's gonna be best, especially if you Israel. They say you got great tribulation, but you also, it coincide with Jacob's trouble. So if it's bad, it's going to be bad for everybody. If it's bad for the person at the top, what is it going to be like for the person at the bottom? It says it's going to be like a time that it never was like before. So I know the transatlantic slave trade was bad, but is it going to be worse than that? I don't know. They say it's going to be worse than what it ever was. So you see stuff like Emmett Till and all that type of stuff. They say it's going to be worse than what it ever was. Go ahead.
And except those days should be shortened,
Go ahead.
There should no flesh be saved.
If the Lord don't come and put a stop to that, it ain't gonna. Everybody gonna die. Go ahead.
But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
Let's keep going. Let's go to Colossians Chapter 2. Let's go to Colossians Chapter 2, because one thing about it is deeper than the Lord just telling us come here on a certain day and read the Bible, and like it's deeper than that. See. When we dealing with like the Sabbath day and these feast days that we keep, they all point to something that's in the future. It's all pointing to something. Like the Lord is always teaching you a lesson with what He's doing. The things that He had you doing, He's teaching you a lesson, teaching you how to operate. He's showing you His plan. Leviticus Chapter 23 show you His whole plan. You know the feast days. You know what you know. You keep the feast days and you come and you actually pay attention and you understand what they're really about. You know the Lord's whole plan. You already got it. You're not in the dark. The world is in darkness, though. But we the children of the light, though. Colossians Chapter 2 and pick it up at verse 16. So right here, over here in Colossians, Paul was dealing with another nation. He was See, that's another way you can know. Like you can't just say all nations, some nations just doomed. Because why was Paul preaching to them? Paul's the Israelite. Paul tell you I'm an Israelite, circumcised on the 8th day. He'll run his stuff down and tell you who he was. But let's keep in mind who Paul is preaching to. Because a lot of people will go here. Just read it, 16.
Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink, or in respect of an holy day, or of the new moon, or of the Sabbath days. Okay,
so a Sunday Christian may come to you and say, see, you can't judge me about the Sabbath day and the holy days and stuff like that. But that's not talking. Paul is talking to some people that he's just not getting into the word. That's really for us. This scripture benefit people that's keeping it already. He said, let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of a holy day, because somebody might look at you weird and be like, man, what tabernacle? Unleavened bread. Get all the bread out the house. Like, you just bought the bread. Why you throwing the bread away? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's inflation. The bread, why you throwing the bread away? He said, let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of a holy day or of the new moon or of what?
The Sabbath days.
Or of the Sabbath days. Because we know that it's 7 annual Sabbath days, but don't let nobody judge you for even keeping the Sabbath day. Which are what?
Which are a shadow of things to come.
Because they represent something that's coming. See, this Sabbath day that we come in and we keep this Sabbath day every week. It's not just for us it's just not a ritual. Like the Lord is actually, we come in here learning, but it's something in the future that we're looking forward to. That's why the title of the lesson is the Sabbath, a day of rest, because the Lord got a future rest that we're supposed to be getting into. This is what we should be looking forward to. This is why we come here every week and try to stay on point. with the way that we walking. He said, which are a shadow of things to come. Go ahead.
But the body is of Christ.
But the body is of Christ. It all points to Christ. You have Pentecost. Christ is the first fruits. You got the Sabbath day itself, the 1,000-year millennium period. Who gonna reign? Christ. You got the Passover. Christ is our what? Passover. Yes, the body is of Christ. It's a shadow. It's pointing to what's to come. But the actual body, like what it's really all about, is pointing you to Christ. It's pointing you to Jesus. And everybody claimed to love Jesus, but Jesus kept tabernacles. When Jesus died, he was before he died, they was keeping the Passover. Let's keep going. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 3. Hebrews chapter 3, and we're going to see what it points to, because it points to a future rest. Hebrews chapter 3, and we're going to pick this up at verse 7. Hebrews chapter 3. And I'm going to wait until everybody get to Hebrews chapter 3 and verse 7. Go ahead.
Wherefore, as the Holy Ghost saith, today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation in the day of temptation in the wilderness.
So he's talking about them folks, them Israel that was back there murmuring in the wilderness. This is what he's talking about. He said, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation in the day of temptation in the wilderness. When they did what?
When your fathers tempted me.
They tempted me. They was out there murmuring. They was complaining. Go ahead.
Prove me.
But they proved me. I was showing them my power. I was raining bread and quail, and Moses was smoking water from a rock. They saw my power. They saw me split the Red Sea. Go ahead.
And saw my works 40 years.
They saw what I did. Go ahead.
Wherefore I was grieved with that generation.
So they, in other words, they upset him. We saw in Numbers 11 how he reacted when the people was just murmuring. They ended up burning him up. He said, wherefore I was grieved with that generation, and said what?
They do always err in their heart.
They always out of pocket. Go ahead.
And they have not known my ways. So I swear in my wrath.
And it made me angry. What?
They shall not enter into my rest.
They shall not enter into my rest. He ain't talking about he talking about this future rest. They not get. We talking about the first resurrection. Is what we gonna read about. This the kind of information we get. We understand that it's two resurrections. If you get into this first resurrection, then you ain't even gotta worry about. You ain't got to worry about no lake of fire. You good. You get in there. But if you wake up in the judgment day and you see you standing in line and Jeffrey Dahmer next to you, you might be scared. You're gonna have a problem. He said, wherefore I was grieved. Where we at? Oh no, 11. He said, so I swear in my wrath, they shall not enter into my rest. Go ahead.
Take heed, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief.
That's what you do when you come. You take heed. Pay attention, brethren. Lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief. Go ahead.
In departing from the living God.
I think I'm gonna start staying home, and you know what I'm saying. He said, take heed, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief and departing from the living God. Sometimes you get weary. This thing, it gets hard, and you might have a thought, man, I can't do this no more. That's why the Lord tell you to endure to the end, because you got to have some endurance. It's just like running a marathon. You gotta constantly keep doing, get yourself in shape. Because once you, like I do personal training on the side, and one thing that I understand is that once you get in, y'all probably know too, once you start working out, you do a couple weeks, you in the groove, you good to go. But when you stop and then you just start eating any old thing and you start working out, it's real hard to get back. That's the same thing with keeping the Sabbath and serving God. It's easy for you to fall off, but it's hard to get back. It's real hard to get it back. Because Satan is in your head and everything. Satan is in your head so tough. And you ain't keeping the Sabbath day. You ain't around this kind of, you got all these people that's trying to get into the kingdom. And they got a certain mindset. And we all trying to do the best we can to get into the kingdom. When you by yourself, Satan got you by yourself. That's why I say he like a lion that's roaring about. You ever see the lions hunt? On the Discovery Channel, you see them, they hunt, and they see that one little wink link, and they pounce on them, and he dinner. That's how Satan looking at you. So when you don't keep the Sabbath day, and you just all alone, and you ain't got nobody around to comfort you or to help strengthen you, you put yourself in subjection to that. It's gonna be a whole lot harder when you one of them type of people. I don't need nobody. You know what I'm saying? That's where that's gonna get you. Keep going.
but exhort one another daily.
Encourage one another daily.
While it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. For we are made partakers of Christ, if we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast until the end.
And it's an if with that, though. See, it said we are made partakers of Christ if we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast. See, a lot of times you come into the word, in the beginning, you just got this knowledge, you all gung ho, you ready, but then all this persecution come your way. Like when you read the parable in Matthew 13, we talk about the parable of the sower. And one of them, all these problems start coming around and they get offended and they just walk away from the word. That's in Matthew chapter 13, the parable of the sower. You can get to that point. He said, for we are made partakers of Christ if we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast unto the end. So you got to try your best to keep that zeal. I understand you when you first come in, you reading for hours. You watching lessons for hours and hours and hours, and you watching more lessons than you watching Netflix. Now you binging Netflix for 8 hours. I'm not saying that it's anything wrong watching Netflix or anything that you like to do, because the Lord give you the ability to enjoy your life. You want to enjoy your life while you're here. That's why he told them over in Jeremiah 29, you're going to be in captivity, but go ahead and have some babies and live life and build houses and stuff. Like, you still going to enjoy life. Even Solomon tell you that. All through Ecclesiastes, he tell you that. But you want to make sure that you try to keep that zeal. Keep that zeal. Anything that you can do. That's why it's good to constantly keep communication with your brothers and sisters if you can. Go ahead.
While it is said, today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation. For some, when they had heard, did provoke. Howbeit, not all that came out of Egypt by Moses, but with whom was he grieved 40 years.
So they asked the question, with whom was he grieved 40 years? Who was in the wilderness making the Lord upset? Go ahead.
Was it not with them that had sinned, whose carcasses fell in the wilderness? And to whom swear he that they should not enter into his rest, but to them that believe not? So we see that they could not enter in because of unbelief.
And that's the thing. That's what Hebrews 11, he said, if you're going to please God, you got to believe that he is. He said, without faith, it's impossible to please God. Keep going right into the next chapter.
Let us therefore fear.
So you got to, and ain't nobody, that's what they need to be teaching you to fear the Lord. If you ain't scared, if I'm not worried about no lake of fire, I'm not about to be out here. I'm not about to wake up at 6 a.m. and drive out here. If I'm scared, I feel like something gonna happen to me if I don't come out here and do the work of the Lord. People don't, I'm not crazy, but I'm not a great guy. I'm scared for the most part. That's my motivation. I'm scared. I don't want that punishment. He said, let us therefore fear lest the promise being left of us enter into his rest. What?
Any of you should seem to come short of it.
So we ain't saved then. See, we come here every week. We learn different things like that. You got once saved, always saved. Ain't nothing can happen to you. You got it. You got it made. But he said you could come short of it. You could come short of this rest. Go ahead.
For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them.
And we preaching the gospel right. We dealing with the gospel right now. Go ahead.
But the word preached did not profit them.
It ain't gonna profit everybody. See, that's why we were talking about earlier. You got a choice. If you choose to just be wicked, then the gospel being preached to you ain't gonna profit you. You could come here every Sabbath for the next 30 years if things last that long. I don't know. But if things last that long and you come here every Sabbath for the next 30 years, it can still be to a point to where it didn't profit you. Because once the sun go down, you doing any whatever it is that you be doing. I'm not saying y'all be doing anything, but you got some people like that. That's why the Lord talk about wheat and tares. Go ahead.
Not being mixed with faith in them that heard it.
So you got to have faith. And when you come here and you hear these things and you hear the way you're supposed to walk, you got to actually do it. That's why I say faith without works is dead. Go ahead.
For we which have believed do enter into rest, as he said, as I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. For he spake in a certain place of the seventh day on this wise.
So that's what this 7th day represent. This is what we're looking at. Go ahead.
And God did rest the 7th day from all his works. and this place again, if they shall enter into my rest. Seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein.
See, it said it's still some people. He said, seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein. Go ahead.
And they to whom it was first preached entered not in because of unbelief.
Talking about the people in the wilderness. Go ahead.
Again, he limiteth a certain day, saying in David, today, after so long a time, as it is said, today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts.
He said, saying to David, because he said it was a lot of things that was prophesied out of the mouth of David. But it was Jesus talking, but it was coming through the mouth of David. Go ahead.
For if Jesus have given them rest, then would he not afterward have spoken of another day?
He's talking about in the future. This is why we do it. That's why I say it's a shadow of things to come, because it's something to come. But the body is of Christ. It's all about Christ. But we point to the future. Go ahead.
There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God.
And this is why we keep doing this. We got something to look forward to. Y'all believe something to be in here, and it's 70 degrees outside, and it's nicer than it's been for a while. He said, there remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God. This is why y'all doing what y'all do. Praise God. Verse 10.
For he that is entered into his rest, he also have ceased from his own works.
So if you're going to enter into this rest that we talking about, if you're going to get into that first resurrection and reign with Christ 1,000 years, you're going to cease from your own works. What works? Pretty much breaking the commandments. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not commit adultery. You're going to keep his commandments. You're going to everything that you used to do, you're going to stop doing that. He said, for he that is entered into his rest, he also has ceased from his own works. Go ahead.
As God did from his.
Is that it? 11. Okay.
Let us labor, therefore, to enter into that rest.
So we got some work to do, right? 6, we got to work. Go ahead.
Lest any man fall after the same example of unbelief.
So we got a whole lot of work to do in order to get that rest. What you do every week, you work hard, you get that rest. You work hard, you get that rest. But your whole life, you got to work hard, continuously work hard so you can enter into that rest. So, because he give you an example of what's going to happen if you don't do right. I don't want to be in no second resurrection, in no judgment line with all these people I see on the news. That's just wild. You standing in the judgment line and you what's your name, Judas? How you gonna feel? Your heart gonna drop. Yeah, I'm Judas. Who is you? You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be in line and you have to deal with that. Let's go to Revelation chapter 20. Matter of fact, let's go to let me add this real quick. Go to 2 Peter. 2 Peter chapter 2. That's how you feel. If you in line and somebody talking about their name Judas, you're gonna cry. 2 Peter first. Hang on. Hold on, I can't find the scripture. I'm gonna have to cheat. What's the scripture where it say day with the Lord is 1,000 years? I was just looking at it. Peter. I know it's in Peter. No, it's in Peter. I know it's in Peter. And I'm probably looking dead at it. 8. 2 Peter 3. Thank you, sis. It was 2 Peter 3 and 8.
Yeah.
2 Peter 3. I had 3 in my. I'm thinking it was second. Okay, I'm thinking it was 2 Peter verse 3. Okay. All right, yeah. 2 Peter 3 and verse 8. Pick it up.
But, beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years.
It said one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years. Go ahead.
And 1,000 years is one day.
So one day to the Lord is 1,000 years. So we got that established. So now let's go to Revelation chapter 20. See, that's why you got to meditate day and night, because you forget stuff. I forgot. I knew where it was. I forgot. But that's why you got. See, I'm up here, and the sister helped me out. That's how we're supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. Amen. Israel's supposed to know what's going on. Amen. When it comes to the word of the Lord. You're supposed to be able to ask it, whoever they are, brother, sister, the kids know. That's how it's supposed to be. Revelation chapter 20, and pick it up at verse 1. Revelation chapter 20. Because one thing about this we're gonna read about this 1,000-year period. Go ahead.
And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years.
There go the 1,000 years. And Satan go by many names. The dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil, and Satan. Go ahead. And what'd he do?
Cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season.
See, we're going to have some peace at that time, because you ain't going to have Satan running around. See, you got to get rid of the people that's causing the drama. And that's even with people, too. People be causing drama. Then you got peace when you get rid of the ones that's causing the drama. So I got to lock you causing too much drama. I'm going to put you on timeout. Go ahead.
And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus.
See, you need to know that you need to know that that's a possibility. You need to know like how real this really is. It said people was beheaded for the witness of Jesus. What happened to John the Baptist? He was beheaded. Go ahead.
And for the word of God.
And for the word of God. That's why, and people don't like you. How close is you with your immediate family members? Hopefully, it ain't always that way. But a lot of times you ain't as close as the people that you grew up with. Or the friends that you grew up with, or the people at your job once you came into the truth. Go ahead.
And which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years.
If you don't worship the beast, but if you don't read and learn and have a teacher that's teaching, you ain't gonna know nothing about no beast. You just gonna know that you gotta survive. So in order to buy a sale, I got to take this mark, so I'm going to take it because my kid's crying. My kid's crying and we ain't ate. See, it's going to get real. Go ahead.
But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished.
And with that whole tribulation thing, everybody ain't going to make it. Some people going to have to be martyrs. That's why I pray. I don't even really pray for like material stuff that's gonna vanish away. I pray that I make it to the wilderness when all this crack off, because I don't want to go through this. I don't want. You got a little baby that needs to eat, but and they got so much technology now. It's probably gonna be to a point to where it's gonna be. I don't know. It's gonna be in your phone or something. Ain't no telling when it's gonna be like that. But he gonna stop. He gonna make it to where you cannot buy or sell. So you can't feed your child. Your lights. It's cold outside. You can't pay your heat, your electricity, because you won't take this mark. Go ahead.
This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that have part in the first resurrection. On such the second death have no power, but they shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years.
And this is what we're trying to get into. We're trying to get into that rest, that 1,000 years. One day with the Lord is as 1,000 years. We're trying to get into that. We're trying to get into that peace. Satan is going to be locked up for 1,000 years. So if Satan ain't here right now, a lot of this stuff ain't going on. Let's keep going. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 11. Because what is it going to, let's see what it's going to be like within that 1,000 years. It's going to be peace. It's going to be peace on earth. Because we're going to have, who's going to be running it? The Prince of Peace, Jesus. Isaiah 11. And let's pick it up at verse 1. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 1. It's talking about Jesus right here. Go ahead.
And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse.
He says it's going to come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse. That was David's father. What they call Jesus, the son of David. That's what he come out of. The Israelite. Go ahead.
And a branch shall grow out of his roots, and the spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him.
Have the spirit of the Lord on him. See, this is what you get. Go ahead.
The spirit of wisdom and understanding.
This is how he gonna be. He got the spirit of wisdom and the understanding. Lord, you don't get nothing if you don't get it from the Lord. Go ahead.
The spirit of counsel and might.
People be depressed and stuff. I know sometimes you may need a counsel, but try Jesus first. He says, spirit of counsel and might. That's where you get your strength from. Go ahead.
The spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord.
The spirit of knowledge. This is why you're supposed to come here and learn. Every week we come here and learn something. We get knowledge. And you learn to fear the Lord. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Sure. Go ahead.
And shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord. And he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes.
About Jesus, he ain't gonna judge out of sight of his eyes. He ain't gonna look at somebody and prejudge them right off the bat. Like James was talking about when they say that man come in with a gold ring and everybody treat him different because he looked like he got money or something like that. And then the man come in like he look like he's got to cutting grass or something, and you treat him a certain, you treat him bad. He's not gonna judge after the sight of his eyes. The Lord, he tell you, he deal on the heart. He deal with the heart. He know what's going on in here. He know what's going on in that dome. He said he should not judge after the sight of his eyes. Know what?
Neither reprove after the hearing of his ears.
He ain't gonna treat nobody bad based off what he heard about or a rumor or something like that. See, that's righteous judgment. That's how a leader's supposed to operate. See, ain't nobody know how to do it like Jesus. Go ahead.
But with righteousness shall he judge the poor.
He judge with righteousness. Go ahead.
And reprove with equity for the meek of the earth.
He gonna reprove with equity. Everything is gonna be equal. Not how it is now, where you treat certain people, you give certain people certain punishments for certain crimes, and other people they just get a slap on the wrist. Everything is gonna be equal. He said he's gonna reprove with equity. Go ahead.
For the meek of the earth, and he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked.
That's how cold the Lord is. All he got to do is speak the word. All he got to do is say die, really, and that just be it for you. Go ahead.
And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins.
This is our King. This is what we waiting for. This is what we trying to get into. Go ahead.
The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb.
That ain't gonna happen right now. The wolf ain't about to dwell with the lamb. The lamb is food right now to the wolf. Go ahead.
And the leopard shall lie down with the kid.
You ain't gonna go ahead.
And the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and the little child shall lead them. And the cow and the bear shall feed.
You can't put your kids in the yard with no pit bulls. You wouldn't do that. But at this point, it's gonna be peace. He said, and what?
And the cow and the bear shall feed.
And the cow and the bear shall feed. The bear eat the cow up right now. Go ahead.
Their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox.
Ain't no lion eating no straw right now. Go ahead.
And the sucking child shall play on the hole of the ass, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice.
Those are okay. Them snakes. You ain't about to let your kids play with no snakes, because you're gonna be going to the ER. Go ahead.
They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord. They shall not
hurt. No, it's gonna be peace. Sure. See, when people, let's look at something real quick. I'm gonna get y'all out of here, but it's the Sabbath day. We supposed to be learning, right? Go to Ephesians chapter 2. Let's look at something real quick. Because one thing we gotta know, just like the book tells us, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against principalities, spiritual wickedness in high places. You ain't dealing with the person. You're not dealing with flesh and blood if somebody doing something wicked. You actually dealing with, it's a spirit behind them. It's a reason that they operate. The reason that y'all operate the way y'all operate, y'all loving your neighbor and stuff like that, and you ain't committed, because you got the spirit of God on you. But if you got the spirit of Satan on you and you out here committing adultery and you shooting up grocery stores and stuff like that, the spirit of Satan is on you. It's not going to be like that though in this kingdom, because Satan going to be locked up. Ephesians chapter 2, and pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead.
And he quickened who were dead in trespasses and sins, wherein in time past you walked according to the course of this world.
Okay, so Paul is talking to the Ephesians. He's saying, you used to operate like the world. He said, in time past, you walked according to the course of this world. Go ahead.
According to the prince of the power of the air.
The prince of the power of the air, talking about Satan. Go ahead.
The spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience.
It's the spirit on those people. It said the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. It's the spirit behind them. That's what I'm trying to get y'all to understand. Go ahead.
Among whom also we all had our conversation in time past in the lust of our flesh.
When you fulfilling the lust of the flesh, Satan is behind that. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God. And neither is subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. That's in Romans chapter 8. Go ahead.
Fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind.
You're gonna do whatever feel good and whatever ease your mind. And it's usually wicked. Go ahead.
And were by nature the children of wrath, even as others.
You was naturally a child of wrath. But keep going. Let's go back to Isaiah chapter 11 and pick it back up at 9.
They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of knowledge of the Lord.
Everybody gonna have the spirit of the Lord on them. It's gonna be full of the knowledge of the Lord. And we know words are spirit as well. Go ahead.
As the waters cover the sea. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek.
Who is that root of Jesse? Jesus, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. Go ahead.
To it shall the Gentiles seek, and its rest shall be glorious.
This rest is going to be glorious. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for this rest. This is what the Sabbath day is pointing to. This is why I said in Colossians, it's a shadow of things to come. Go to Isaiah 65. And we got one more after this. Isaiah 65. And we're gonna pick it up at verse 17. He's just showing you how it's gonna be. This is why, and then we need to make an example of that every week. It should be peaceful in here. And then even the Lord tell us, and even if we do got a problem with somebody, he tell us how to deal with that. Go confront it. It's supposed to be between you and your neighbor himself. You and him. Everybody, you got a problem with somebody. See, that's why I was saying it. The Bible just teach you how to be a solid individual. Because if you just run around talking about somebody, talking about what they did, 9 times out of 10, you scared. You think they might slap you or something. See, you're supposed to be able to if that's your brother, you're supposed to be able to tell him what's wrong. And you're supposed to get them right. You restore each other in meekness. Isaiah 65 and 17. Go ahead.
For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. But be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem with rejoicing, and her people with joy. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem and joy in my people.
Who he's talking about who is his people? First and foremost is Israel, but everybody else could be grafted in. He said, I will rejoice in Jerusalem and joy in my people. Go ahead.
And the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying.
Not right now, it's a lot of weeping and crying. People getting, a lot of these Israelite brothers getting shot down and all kind of stuff. It's a whole lot of crime and a whole lot of nonsense going on. Go ahead.
There shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that have not fulfilled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old.
It's going to be common for people to be living to 100 years old. Go ahead.
But the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed, and they shall build houses and inhabit them.
They're going to build houses and inhabit them. See, you see when Israel invented something, somebody else come to take it. But it ain't gonna be like that at this point. Go ahead.
And they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruits of them.
But it was total opposite when you read them curses in Deuteronomy chapter 28. You're gonna eat, and another man is gonna eat thereof. You're gonna plant, and another man shall eat thereof. Go ahead.
They shall not build, and another inhabit. They shall not plant, and another eat. Whereas the days of a tree are the days of my people.
So people gonna be living a whole lot long. You know how old trees get? Trees be hundreds of years old. Look it up. Go ahead.
And mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain.
You ain't gonna be laboring. You ain't gonna be working for free like you was before you left Egypt and he brought you out of the house of bondage. Go ahead.
Nor bring forth for trouble, for they are the seed of the blessed of the Lord.
They say, nor bring forth for trouble. So you're not gonna have babies, and babies is gonna be born in the captivity. It ain't gonna be like that at this point. He said, nor bring forth for trouble. For they are the seed of the blessed of the Lord. Go ahead.
And their offspring with them. And it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer.
So you're going to be praying in your mind. As soon as before you even get your prayer out your mouth, the Lord going to answer. He said, before they call, I will answer. Go ahead.
And while they are yet speaking, I will hear.
Everything is going to be just like that. Go ahead.
The wolf and the lamb shall feed together. And the lion shall eat straw like the bullock, and dust shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt nor destroy.
Ain't nobody gonna be hurt. Ain't no gonna be no destruction because it's gonna be peace. because that spirit of Satan is going to be locked up for 1,000 years. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, saith the Lord. Last one. Let's go to Matthew chapter 11. And the main thing, the reason we come here every week is because you get to lean on Jesus. You hear the word. See, Jesus, his words live on. Like everything that he had, the prophets right and the apostles right. A lot of these people, they passed away, but their words live on. And you get to come here every week and comfort. We get to comfort one another with these words, like Paul was telling when he was telling the Thessalonians. Matthew chapter 11, and pick it up at verse 28. Because what we're looking forward to that rest. We're looking forward to that rest to come. We're looking forward to this rest that comes every week, but we're looking forward to something bigger at the end. 28, go ahead.
Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden.
He said, come unto me, everybody that's working. Because this whole thing, this is why he said you got to endure. This whole walk is some work. He said, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden. You got a whole lot of stress on you, whatever it is that you're going through. Jesus is saying, come to me, and what?
And I will give you rest.
He said, I'm going to give you some rest. Just keep on doing what you're doing, and I'm going to give you some rest. Go ahead.
Take my yoke upon you and learn of me.
But when you come, you're going to learn something. Jesus is always stressing that. He taught. He said, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. Go ahead.
For I am meek and lowly in heart.
And you need to be like that too. Be meek. Be humble. Be meek. He said, I am meek and lowly in heart. Go ahead.
And you shall find rest unto your souls.
You shall find rest into your souls. And I pray that everybody got some understanding in Jesus' name. And with that being said, we're going to do the announcements.
Our prayer is that the eyes of your understanding were enlightened by today's lesson. Please tune in to Thy Kingdom Come television program, which airs in various locations. Also, join us for a question and answer Bible study in about an hour. Please tune in every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via live stream and or teleconference at 860-970-0010. XX code 343-531-334#. If you feel that you are ready to be baptized, please notify Brother Obadiah at the end of the service. The following is the dress code for our services. All clothing should be modest in appearance. Nothing tight-fitting, overly baggy, sagging, or revealing should be worn. Men are to remove hats and all head coverings. Women should wear head coverings such as a hat or a scarf, according to 1 Corinthians 11, 1-7. If your child becomes noisy during the lesson, distracting other members, please remove him or her from the service to another room or location. Any tithes or free will offerings should be put in an offering envelope and placed in the offering box located near the podium. Pray for our strength as we pray for you. Until next Sabbath, peace.
Peace. If nothing else, stand up, face Jerusalem, and close out.
Let us pray. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Praise the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endures forever. Praise the Lord God of Israel, for he is good, and his mercy endures forever. In Jesus' holy name we pray. The King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Amen.
Hallelujah! 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 In Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. Amen. What's good, man?
You may have to do a little editing.
What you said?
Purpose already